My name is Dusan Stojnov, and I am professor of psychology at Psychology Department of University of Belgrade in Serbia. I have been teaching and working with personal constructs theory and psychology for 25 years now. And after a long career in academic psychology and in psychotherapy, I decided that it's a time for a turn in order to try out something very new and exciting. And this is to try to apply personal construct psychology in the field of coaching. This lovely emerging field is something which I think was always being germane with the main tenets and main ideas of personal construct psychology. This theory, developed by George Alexander Kelly 50 years ago, was never a part of a mainstream. And it was maybe too avant-garde for the rest of psychology in the time of its initialization. And it's also being not in the right center of the psychology and psychotherapy and coaching today, which I think is a pity, because this is a wonderful theory having to offer a lot. Because even from its onset, it was not a real psychotherapy or clinical psychology field, a therapy which was being used with people which were only disordered, because it was trying to approach people who need some psychological support and who need some sort of help, but which not necessarily have to be stigmatized with a diagnosis or pathologized by a help given in a medical institution. I think that at the beginning of the last century, the main technology of change, besides education, was psychotherapy. And it assessed people with trying to help them and trying to get them back to work. But how it was done? It was actually done by trying to repair people, trying to make their disorder go away and try to put them back in a way of functioning which was seen as something normal or expected. Psychology of personal contract was never replete with diagnostic categories, stigmatizing labels, nor heavy theories of disorder. It was actually being much more suitable for people who need some help, who are being derailed, and who have to be given some sort of support and sustain in order to carry on. I remember a client of mine who said that psychotherapy for him is an enterprise in which he was saved from being drowned, and coaching for him is a lesson in swimming. So I thought this was a wonderful metaphor for something we actually have to do with the clients. And PCP is trying to help coaches and people who are claiming to change for the better. And basically what personal construct coaching does with people is to help them enter a sort of mobility of mind. In order to do that, people have to change. But change is not an easy affair. If you want to change, you cannot just think about the change. It is not a cognitive effort only. It is also an emotional thing. If you want to get something, you have to leave something behind. And if you want to change to something new, you have to go through a phase of anxiety, a phase of a very uncomfortable state of being, because usually what people want to get rid of, they know how to do. And very often they don't know how to do the lovely, beautiful things in life they want to achieve. PCP and the personal constant coaching is a lovely realm for entering the meaning of a client and trying to see what are the reasons, what are the philosophies, and what are the theories beyond the behavior they do. Because all our behavior is actually coming out of our theories. All our definitions of situations are always true in their consequences. In that respect, personal construct coaching has to understand people first and enter a field of appreciative understanding, making a dialogue, and try to help them to negotiate about their goals. What is interesting in personal construct coaching is that what people want to reach is not seen as it is usually seen in humanist psychology. Because the whole endeavor of humanist psychology in 60s and 70s of the last century was to help people achieve self-actualization, to become what they really are, to come to their authentic depths and try to be authentic beings, not to do many silly things just because they don't think they're good enough. So the whole discourse of a normal being, an authentical being, and congruent being is something which is given in our psychological interiority. The psychological cloth we are all made from is either good or neutral, but humans as beings are not bad. They become somehow spoiled through the difficult lives and through the difficult impacts of environment. Personal constant coaching is taking another look at this. We are not what is written in our psychological cloth. We don't have some sort of psychological substance, some essence, which makes us relate in a certain way towards other people. Actually, we are beings in relations. And what we are is some product of our relations with all other significant beings. So if we want to change, we're trying to change in relations. And if we want to change, we have to do something different in those relations. And in order to do something different, we have to do something very strange. We have to make an act of daring, transcend the obvious, and enter into the unknown, and try to be what we have never been before. Try to do something we have never done before. Try to experiment with different schemes, with different behaviors, with different strategies we have never tried to do before. The whole idea between this is that people are scientists, and through their behavioral experiments, they are always testing some important hypothesis. So behavior is seen as a product of our convictions, of our assumptions, of our hunches. And we always try to see if those hunches, those beliefs work. So we are always in some sort of experiential learning, forming hypotheses, thinking how to test them, and then thinking in the light of validational outcome, whether any good, should they be sustained, because the thing which is winning is never changed, or should they be changed? And if we have to change them, then we have to reach for something which is quite new in our repertory. This task is actually not a one-off task in someone's life. Basically, what we have to do is to reach for those changes throughout our lives, because what the life is asking from ourselves is some sort of a constant updating and constant elaboration. If you look at the auto industry, if you look at the computer industry, you can see all those new models coming out each and every year, making a tremendous pressure on the competition. And I just wonder, is it possible to remain different in the human world? If we want to succeed, if we want to compete, if we want to make a good career, we have to update constantly. We have to reach out and go for something new. This is a project which has been elaborated in the realm of the personal constant psychology for the last 60 years. And there are very many wonderful techniques and theoretical bits which allow this. Actually, the first theory, to the best of my knowledge, who merged successfully a very profound theory of learning and very profound theory of change in one theory. And this is not to say that others have not tried or done it in different ways. This is just to emphasize my personal opinion that personal construct psychology did this merger in the best way. So I would like, I hope that I would be able in my work to demonstrate that personal construct psychology applied to coaching, which gives a new abbreviation, PCC, personal construct coaching, is a very handy and practical tool for helping people transcend the obvious, make an act of daring, and become what they have never been.